Singing a roundabout. Mountains come out of the sky. They stand there. What? Why, a little yes. Yes, sir. A little yes, and some Alan Parsons Project. Wafting through the hallways in the early morning hours of this second day of Rocktober. I love saying that, Andy. What? Yes, and Alan Parsons, progressive rock in the classic rock era. Yes became famous for the Not Fragile album. I always liked Alan Parsons Project. Good morning, anybody. It is 8 o'clock. It is the second day of Rocktober, and everybody, we are ready to rock out here. We are really excited. I'm really excited, Andy. We're excited about Rocktober. Man, fall is in the air, ain't it? Man, fall is in the air in central Montana. Leaves are changing. Well, yeah, it's Rocktober, you know. That's why. When I was in high school, I learned that the leaves change colors because of Rocktober. It was really cool this morning. What was it, 39 last night? In fact, I stopped, actually, Andy. I stopped to get coffee on the way here this morning. And I was standing in line behind this couple who obviously, Ken and Barbie, just moved here from, I'm thinking, the West Coast. Anyway, the wife was saying to her husband, I got like 39 last night. I really think winter's here. I'm thinking, holy shit, should I really tell him? January, 35. 40 below here. That's standard operating procedure in January. When the rodeo, go back to our podcast from the last year during the rodeo time, January. I think it was, 89,000 below zero? It's coming. However, it's supposed to warm up later this week, and it'll be in the 70s by next weekend. And so this weekend, Andy, yesterday, Saturday at midnight, so it would be yesterday at midnight, the government shutdown was avoided for now. For now, it's been avoided. With little time to spare, Biden, President Joe Biden signed the temporary funding bill around midnight on Sunday morning. Midnight, Joe Biden was up at midnight signing this document. At midnight. Surely you jest. I don't jest, and quit calling me Shirley. So, from what I'm reading from Andy, to boil it down and put it in a nutshell. Ooh, look at me. I'm in a nutshell. It comes down to like 12, 11. Andy, throw the names up there, or throw the count up there. Republicans, far-right Republicans. That's it. That's all. 12 people are holding this whole thing up. Bet you Gatz is in there. Rosendale. I'll bet you money. How much? How much, Andy? I'll bet you. Oh, you got the list. Andy's like, nope. They're fighting, they're arguing, there's mudslinging. And who's really going to pay for this? When they're They shut the government down. Who pays? I do, you do, your neighbors do, the government shutdowns. Astonishing enough. Astonishing enough that if the government shuts down, the people in Congress that shut it down are going to still get paid. Your senators, your congressmen, they're going to get still stay paid. While people like the Head Start program, people in the military, office workers that work in the public programs for the federal government, all other sorts of government-funded programs for the poor, and it was shut down. It would affect our troops, the border agents. Federal parks would all be shut down, federal lands. That's how it goes. Andy, how many have we had in recent memory? Go recent. Go Reagan. Go Reagan administration. 10. Shit. 10 times. Alrighty then. What's the holdup about? The holdup is about the funding of Russia-Ukraine war, the war in Russia, the occupation, police action, whatever they're doing over there. The Republicans are, those 12 especially, are saying no more. You know, we can't afford billions and billions of dollars in the Ukraine in the war effort, and you know, while our people, and you know, they have a good point. However, if they would have listened to me at the very beginning when this whole thing started, I was a very proponent of like, let's go get them, let's go in there and kick their goddamn ass, frickin' Putin. I was. 101st Airborne, 1st Armor, 2nd Armor, send them all in there. All that this Russian-Ukraine action has shown me is that Russia's a paper tiger. They're the open the gate. Whew. They were the superpower. If they said they were, they would have done this. They would have conquered Ukraine in weeks before anybody could have gotten involved. And that was the prediction. Is that, you know, they'll go swooping in there in 10 days. In 10 days, the thing will be all over. And guess what? Here we are, what? Years. It's dragging on. They're depleting their army. I said, you know, well, if we go in there and go to war, there'll be a superpower, they'll nuke us. You know, Andy, I'm inclined to agree or disagree on that. The reason that I disagree on that is because they said they had the largest, most powerful army in the world. They said they had the best Air Force. I watch the news. You all watch the news. I don't care if you're watching the right-wing news or the left-wing news. Russia ain't winning this. Okay? Not right now. Is it because of our help? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got NATO. It's like Russia's fighting NATO. But they started it. Ukraine's a key food basket for the world. We don't want it to fall in Russia's hands, and I really don't think it would. Annie, what are you thinking? You know, if we'd have just gone in there at the very beginning, about 6 months in, we could have gone in there and said, look, man, we're going to intervene. We're going to, you know, the army is depleted. Russian citizens are protesting. Some Russian some Russian citizens are watching this podcast instead of supporting Russian war effort. And then today, I say, I don't know what to say in Russian. All I say is "net," and I don't want them to say no. Don't watch the podcast. So, you know, the budget disaster fiasco is avoided for what? 45 days? They're at war. Everybody's pointing fingers. They need to figure this out because we voted them to take those decisions and make them for us. That's what their job is. Not to shut the government down because they can't. Well, we can't agree on anything, so let's shut the government down. I still can't believe that Joe Biden was signing documents at midnight on Saturday, Sunday, like yesterday morning, day before. I don't care what morning it was. It wasn't at midnight. I think they're exaggerating that they got him. Get up and sign this. Like Henry Blake in MASH. He's just signing stuff away. Not really sure. Friday, Andy. Yes, sir. Friday. Tupac. Authorities in Nevada on Friday announced that they had finally made an arrest in the killing of Tupac Shakur. After what, Andy? 27 years? Everybody knew Duane Keffe D. Davis, former gang leader, one of the last surviving witnesses to the crime, was indicted for the murder, basically for orchestrating, planning, making sure that the drive-by shooting that happened on September 7th, 1996. So it's 27, 20, yeah. Prosecutors say that Davis has admitted, as we all know, several times. We'll get to that in a minute, but he's admitted several times that he was the one on the ground, the on-site commander. These are quotes of the effort to kill Tupac after Tupac was involved in a melee, a brawl, a fight with Davis's nephew, Orlando Anderson, who is also, Anderson did it. Anderson was never charged. Davis has claimed now that he was in the white Cadillac when a backseat shooter opened fire on Tupac, who was riding along with Serge Knight. He's the founder of Death Row Records. Reports say that, Tupac was hanging out the window, flirting with some girls. The white Cadillac drove up. He reached in and just gunfire. Both parties, Tupac, Serge, Anderson, and Davis, were those parties in question attended the Mike Tyson fight that night at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. And like I said, after the fight, the Tyson fight, that is, Davis and his nephew Anderson got in a fight with Tupac and his crew, and this is all documented. You can pull the video up on YouTube. In fact, Andy and I watched the video. When did we watch it? Saturday. We were up here watching college football Saturday. Go Blue. And we watched the video on YouTube, and the whole thing is on. You can see the both parties clash, leave, everything. Don't forget now that when Tupac's death came as he was rivaling with Biggie Smalls. That's the notorious B.I.G., who was also shot to death in a drive-by in 1997. And now that, because of those two, it fueled the speculation of that East Coast, West Coast feud that was going on at the time. Authorities admit that when they were investigating the Biggie Smalls murder, Davis's came up again. Duane, Keffe D was keeping it coming up. So, and because of the East Coast thing, you had Biggie signing with Puffy Combs, Bad Boy Records, okay, and Tupac was Death Row Records with Surge Knight, along with Eazy-E and Snoop Dogg at the time. So both labels and both people that sign on definitely had legitimate gang ties. If you don't think that Snoop and Tupac and Biggie and Notorious, they call him Notorious B.I.G. and I call him Biggie, same guy. Search like they all had Crips, Bloods, ties, and that's what was going on in the 90s. Okay, so you had Tupac and Snoop and Surge Knight, as I said, they had ties to the L.A. Bloods. Okay, red. If you see Tupac, he's wearing red all the time. While the others, Biggie and Puffy, had ties to the South Side Compton Crip. Blue guys. It's red and blue. Not like Republicans and Democrats, but it's getting like that. Shooting in the streets. Anyway. Do you remember this was all a time when the gangster rap, the old G, the OG. Am I an OG? I've had people, you're an OG. I mean, evidently. It dominated MTV and the airwaves. Everybody was listening to it. Snoop was big. Tupac was big. Biggie was big. Puff was big. You had Coolio. You had all sorts, Eazy-E. Okay? But even though it dominated our airwaves, it had real-time violence behind it. Hence, the murders. I mean, it was a time when it was a different time. I talk about the old days all the time, but these were different times. Yeah, OG, it was the Crips and the Bloods. It was a way of life. They were making the movie Colors with, what was it, Duvall and Penn. It was a big cultural thing going on. Now, I don't know, Andy, why it took so long. I said a little while ago, I mean, even I know who. I mean, I wasn't sure. I don't work for the prosecuting attorney's office, but I knew enough of the story to know that Duane Keffe D. Davis had long been known to investigators, has been a suspect. It was like, it was always in, we knew all the four people in the Cadillac. We knew all the people. But I think it was Duane's decision in recent years to speak publicly and promote his tell-all memoir, and that's kind of how, it led to his arrest. It seems like, they're all doing it. They, Sam the Bull, let's write a book. Henry Hill, let's write a book. OJ, let's write a book. What if I did it? What if I did it? I know, but what if? But, in 2018, Keffe D. Duane Davis, who was diagnosed with cancer, openly shared details about the drive-by shooting in an interview with the BET network. On TV. It's on cable. Okay? It's on cable. Yeah, I was there. I took a Glock. I slid it, into the back seat. Bullets started flying. Seriously, Andy. And he wrote that memoir in 2019, if you remember. That came out. He admits being there and being the quote-unquote shot caller that ordered the death of Tupac. So, in books, in print, books, is it audio book too, and videos, television specials? Davis has admitted being there. Jesus, Andy, the man has told everyone who would listen, everyone who would even listen to a word he'd have to say, what happened in Vegas that night. No remorse. It's the way to go. I slid in again. He repeatedly. I was the shot caller. I slid the gun into the back seat. One of them shot. Well, Nevada, the felony murder law says that if you're involved he's as guilty as murder. Here, take a gun and shoot this guy. And they're charging him with a gang enhancement. So, he said it so many times in so many different places that it's going to be impossible. Think about it. He's been in books, in print, in magazines, in a documentary, on TV. He said it so many times, so consistently, with the same story, that it's going to be really hard for him to say, hey, I was just kidding, everyone. I was not serious. I wouldn't do anything like that. No. He's continuously boasted about it. He's even apologized indirectly. I read that statement that you threw up here a little while ago. He's even apologized indirectly to the family, mother of Tupac. It's just, Andy, there's parts of me that think, this should have been solved a long time ago. We knew who all the players are from tapes and witnesses' accounts. We knew. He had a driver right behind him that reported to the police that he watched the whole thing go down. They never interviews. So much of this intriguing cover-up, it's conspiracy. I don't know if it was a cover-up and conspiracy. I mean, I can't help to think, Andy, if it was not. I mean, this was a gang-related black crime that took 27 years to solve, supposedly, even though most people already knew all the players and knew who the probable shooter was, and they knew of the car. If it was different. How about if it was white, non-gang entertainers like Liberace and Elvis being involved in a drive-by shooting? You know, Liberace and Elvis in a drive-by. Just what the hell could I be thinking? Sinatra and Wayne Newton. Well, with Sinatra, as he's doing the drive-by, I did it my way. Bam, bam. What do you think? Andy? What do you think? Do you think I'm reaching? All right. You know what I'm not reaching about? The Detroit Lions, this Monday morning, are on top of the North Division in the NFC with a 3-1 record. I know it's early, but it's been a long time since I've been able to say we're sitting at the top of the North Division with a winning record. They looked good Thursday night, didn't they? Oof, gee. Tell you who looked good is that number 2 ranked team in the nation, those Michigan Wolverines. They look good. J.J. McCarthy looked good. Did you see before the game on Fox, Ohio State homer Urban Meyer, Urban! He put him on upset alert. He thought that Nebraska was going to beat him by, what do you say, 2 touchdowns? What was the final score, 45-7? McCarthy looked excellent. Pinpoint accuracy. I was very, very impressed. Oh, yeah. So, polls will come out. Georgia was in a tight one. Yeah. So, it's all going to shake out. We're sitting at 5-0 and 3-1. So, football is good in the state of Michigan. I don't give a damn what's going on with Michigan State. Yeah, Andy, it is the first week of October. Rocktober is the month where Bissell sponsors their Empty the Shelters drive. Now, this runs from the 1st of October to the 15th of October. And over the years, they've rescued millions, hundreds of thousands, almost millions of dogs. There's specials at your shelter. It's the Bissell Empty the Shelters. It goes for 2 weeks. It runs all of I think the Great Falls shelter here is involved. I do believe I haven't been on Facebook yet this morning and looked at it. It was a little early. I was running late because I was behind the couple in the coffee shop, remember? I wonder if winter's really here. Holy shit, lady, it's only 39. Wait till it gets 55 below with 40-mile-an-hour winds, and you got to go out and shovel. Green Acres is the place for me. Farm living. It has nothing to do with Green Acres, Montana. No. So, Bissell Empty the Shelter is a 2-week event. Goes from the 1st to the 15th. There's discounts. They'll help you get your dog They'll adopt, and you know what we think about that, Andy, right? So, I really think it's a really good idea for everybody to get out and get involved. Andy, how are we doing on time? We are done. Andy says we are done. So I guess we're going to have to tell everybody, I guess we're done. We're done. What is it? National what day? National Nothing Day. It's National what? Nothing? You didn't have nothing for National Day. It's National Labor Day in Canada. So, to all my Canadian viewers, happy Labor Day. That's the best you could do. That's the best he says he could do. Cheesecake. What about cheesecake? Nothing. All right then. Bissell Empty the Shelter month goes exactly what I always try to tell people at the end of the show. And that is to spay and neuter. Like our friend Bob would always say. Kiss your dogs, empty the shelters, adopt, don't shop, foster, rescue, volunteer, adopt a shelter pet today. It is the 2nd of October. For everybody, have a great week. Stay warm. We will see you next Monday. Andy, we're out of here. We're out of here. Happy Labor Day in Canada. See you, everybody.